Welcome to the Wheelbarrow Profits podcast, where you get multifamily investing made real. Learn from top players in the real estate investment world as they share their secrets with you and discover proven strategies on apartment investing that actually work. To learn more about Wheelbarrow Profits, visit jakeandgino.com, your one-stop shop for everything multifamily. Now to your hosts, Jake and Gino.
Hello, everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of the Wheelbarrow Profits podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, the chef, the father of six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
Mr. Stenziano, we're doing good today, bro.
We are making it happen, my friend. MIH, baby.
That's right.
So we got a special one for the listeners today. We are bringing the rough, rugged, and raw to the table. In this episode, we'll be discussing how to break through. What am I talking about? Am I talking about the doors? Am I talking about breaking through the other side? Kinda. What I mean by that specifically is, how do you break through? How do you break out of your current state, job, or situation to create a life for yourself that allows for abundance and time freedom? Because that's what multifamily is all about. Creating a life, creating that generational wealth for the family, getting secure and growing. And Gino, I know this topic holds a special place in your heart because you were grinding for so long in the kitchen, getting in there every day and seeing, okay, you had a ceiling, literally. You couldn't get beyond the ceiling. So how do you get out of your comfort zone and finally jump in, both feet to multifamily, and totally change your life?
That's a big question. We got 30 minutes for this podcast.
We got as long as we want. It's our show.
It would take me 2 hours to answer that question. But really, it's not simple it is in life. I was rocking and rolling along. I didn't like my life. I was stuck. I had a midlife crisis, and I wasn't even midlife yet. So I said to myself, what's going on here? We all need to evaluate our lives at a certain point. I had a great family life. I loved the family. I loved where I lived. And that's probably part of the problem. I was comfortable. And I wasn't enough uncomfortable to change my situation until 08, 09 happened. When that started changing, economy started changing, my income started dipping, became fearful. We're going to talk about fear a lot on this. So I said to myself, I have two choices. I can stay comfortable and uncomfortable, or I can change my situation. And I decided to move away from the pain. There's two ways you can go, guys. And this is how you activate your motivation in life. You can either move away towards something, or you can move towards something. I was moving away from pain. That was the easiest thing for me to do because I know what I didn't want. Most of us on this call know what we don't want, right? I didn't want to be stuck in a useless business. I didn't want to be doing something every day that I hated doing. But what was it that I wanted to do? I wanted to create wealth and generate passive income. And we all know that real estate is that vehicle, but I didn't know how to tap into it. But gosh darn it, I really had to find out how to do that. And I started educating myself. And it doesn't happen overnight, guys. It took me a while to get educated, to go to life coaching school, to get a real estate coach, to get a mentor. This isn't a 2 or 3, 4 or 5 month process. This is something that I had to look internally, that I had to do a lot of work on. And it becomes uncomfortable because we don't like to sit down and write our foibles, write our fears, write our goals, because we might come up short on that. And that's what we're all afraid of. We're all afraid of failing ourselves. And I was afraid of failing myself and failing my family. And that's what really motivated me and drove me to go to that next level, that fear of failing my family and failing myself. I saw that as a sin, not to live up to my expectations, because I was basically born by hitting the lottery. I had two of the best parents that anybody could ask for. Middle class neighborhood, went to college, end up marrying someone who's 10 times better than I am. So I had it all. I had the table set for myself. So if I actually didn't hit my expectations of what my life should be, I had no one to blame but myself. So you guys can see the fear that was building up inside of me going into my 50s and 60s, saying I should have been able to do this. I had all the chips set for myself. So that's what really drove me, the fear of failing myself and the fear of not living up to my expectations, not being able to grow as a person, not being able to contribute. That's what really drove me.
This is one of the reasons I love you so much, is because your mindset, you're accountable to yourself. Anyone else would have said if they're in a bad situation, what do they start doing? They start pointing the finger. It's his fault. It's their fault. I'm not doing it because it's this. It's the government. It's the town is holding me back. I don't have the skill set. You just said that it was on you. You said you were given a golden spoon just because you had great family around you. You said, I have a great family. I have the ability. I have everything set for me to make it happen. Now it's up to me. That right there in itself is so powerful. That's amazing, Gino. That's a great thing, man.
But Jake, it takes a while to come to that realization, because when you're younger, in your 20s and maybe early 30s, you start hating on life. You say, and for good reason, there's a lot of people that are born with bad situations, but as you get older, that stuff is in the rearview mirror. You have to look at life as going forward. That's what coaching is all about, looking into the future. What can you do into the future? You have to hold yourself accountable and responsible. Look at all the top CEOs and top leaders in this country. Look at all of them. They are all responsible for their actions, whether they're going to be good, they're going to go to school, they're going to get educated, they're going to learn their skill sets. And I was blaming everybody else, and there's a block in life. Most of our blocks are external. What happens is mostly internal. 95% of our blocks are internal, if you can understand that. 5% are external. Now, what's an external block? The economy, what's going on with jobs, what's going on in the multifamily industry. Me and you are coming to this new realization that syndication is the wonderful thing. That was holding us back. Why? We're thinking about it internally. We weren't internalizing it in our own thing. So I said to myself, why do I have these blocks? It's all the way I'm thinking. It's all about the energy blocks that I have, the limiting beliefs, the interpretations, the assumptions, and the gremlins that I have. How can I conquer them, and how can I use them to propel me to go forward?
And the initial question was, how do you get out of your comfort zone? And I want to share a little bit about my story on this, because what happened to me, I guess it would have been, maybe I've always been success conscious, but around 2005, I started doing some research, started educating myself, and then probably got to a tipping point in about 2010, and I really started understanding how taxes work, and that really drove me out of New York. I said, if I'm going to make it happen for myself, it's probably not going to be here. So I looked for places that had low property taxes, didn't have state income tax, and I said, I need to go and reinvent myself and set up shop. So I dropped it all. I talked to my wife. I said, we're out of here. I went, did some research. We decided on Knoxville, Tennessee. That was going to be the place for us. And I left everything. I had a very comfortable life in New York, had great friends, great family all around me. But that comfort zone, by getting myself out of that comfort zone and forcing myself to focus on success, I got out of the comfort zone, went down to Tennessee, started working with you on the properties, and boom, 3 years later we exploded it. So sometimes you have to make those moves. Sometimes you may have to say, I'm in too much of a comfort zone right now. Get out of the comfort zone, get to a place where you're just going to be able to focus on creating a life. And that's what I did. So that was one of the big takeaways, that I didn't realize it was going to have this kind of impact, but when I cleared all the crap out of my life and said, okay, I'm here, I'm focused on success now, we're going to MIH, baby, we're going to make it happen, and we did. Looking back, it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made.
And that's one of the things, the thread that we should talk about throughout this whole entire podcast is you took responsibility for yourself also, right? It's not comfortable leaving your family. Listen, I'm going to do the same thing. I want to get down to Jacksonville, Florida.
And it wasn't easy convincing the crew to make it happen either.
That's right.
That was tough. But you know what? We focused on it, and we did it, though.
Well, what'd you do? What I'm doing right now is I'm compiling a list of pros and cons of what you want to do in life, whether it's investing in multifamily, whether it's losing weight, whether it's getting out and moving your family somewhere. And that's what I did. I listed the pros and I listed the cons.
Well,
I think
Ben Franklin, baby.
Ben Franklin, right? And you read an hour a day, you listen to Ben Franklin, you do what he does, you can't go wrong. And that's what I ended up doing. You have to sell yourself. You're selling yourself on the notion of what do I have to do forward. So for me, getting into multifamily, it was an easy sell. The first time around, I didn't have enough energy behind it. I was comfortable in my restaurant. I was making good money. I didn't have as many kids. I didn't have as many things pulling on me. So I said, you know what, this is not bad. I can handle this. But the second time around, I put those pros there and I put those cons. Those cons outweighed those pros. I mean, those pros outweigh those cons by a lot to get into multifamily, and that was my decision.
Yeah, and you were just talking about, you didn't have enough weight behind it, enough energy. This is why partnerships can be so powerful sometimes, because it's almost like you have a coach on the other side. You're holding each other accountable, and you want to see the partnership succeed, so you're working hard for each other. And I think that's one of the important things. If you guys find the right group out there, and I don't know what the quote is, but you basically become a sum of the people around you. So Gino holds me accountable, I hold him accountable, and it basically multiplies all of our efforts. And
the scary thing, Jake, is you will do more for somebody else than you will do for yourself. So I mean, if you're the kind of person who's like a little insecure or whatever, you have a partner, you will do more for that partner than you will end up doing for yourself. So is that crazy?
You don't want to but if you're a good person, you don't want to let that person down.
That's right. It's just like coaching. The same thing with coaching. I've got a lot of students who come on and say, I knew I had to talk to you tonight, so I had to do this work. So you're being held accountable by a coach. You won't do the work for yourself, but you'll do it for your coach. That might sound completely crazy, but that's how we are as humans. We don't want to let people down. So when you're with a partnership, do as you say and say as you do. If you've got that mindset, you're not going to let your partner down. You have to send out those 3 emails and call that broker and get in touch with your other partner. You're going to do that. But if you have to do it for yourself, you're going to sit back and you make all these excuses. Not going to happen when you're in a good partnership.
Right on, right on.
Bring the pond, yeah.
So you're a pretty successful guy here. You've amassed over $33 million in real estate. How has your vision on leadership changed from going from the restaurant to being this real estate entrepreneur?
Well, my definition of success has changed over the last 5 or 6 or 10 years. As a business guy, I always equated success with making money, which when you're younger, that's what you tend to do. Now I equate success with having the financial freedom. Once I got out of the rat race, that's where I want all the millennials and all the 30-somethings and the 40-somethings to really focus on. Focus on getting out of the rat race, because once you're financially free, you can do anything you want to do. You can be on a podcast. You can go pick your daughter up at volleyball at 3 o'clock. That is what was really powerful for me as far as my success. And you know what? Your results will come. Will make the money if you focus on serving others. That's my vision. My vision is trying to serve others now, trying to bring the motivation to others, trying to hold people accountable for what they want to do, giving them the knowledge. Vision is a really tough word to describe. I was more of a manager. Managers are not vision. Leaders have the vision. So it's difficult, and that's why this country's been lagging for the last 15, 20, 25, 30. We haven't had people with a vision. We've only had people who manage. Leaders are one step above. They have to stay above the fray. They have to see what's going on 2, 3, 5 years down the road. And it's difficult because sometimes you could be an outcast. It's people saying to you, what are you doing? How are we going to do that? But you have to be stuck with your convictions. And I think that's what I'm doing now with Jake and Gino and with the real estate. We're just trying to grow the portfolio. We're trying to become as knowledgeable as possible. We're trying to get a group of investors together in our closed Facebook group with the academy. We're trying to get that whole thing together. And sometimes it can be difficult. It's a lot of work trying to reach out to different people. But I see the vision. I want to help people get into multifamily. I want to help people assess their lives and see why they're falling short, why they're stuck, and why I was stuck, and just show. I want to be an example to people, basically, to say, listen, there's no excuse. I've got 6 kids. I was in a job that I was stuck at, got big bills, but I want to show people, and I want to, be the light for people to say, listen, you can do this.
This is going to sound super corny, but I feel like I operate in an alternate universe. There's all these people out there running around, chasing their tails, doing the what do you say? The traffic? What the traffic?
It's called a traffic fighter.
The traffic fighter.
I can't take that quote. It's from Alex Becker.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. It's just I thought that was the most appropriate thing that I ever read in the last month or two. I mean, this guy's talking about people getting in their cars from 8 to 5, just following the rhythm, and we all fall into that because we fall into our comfort zone. Jake, let me give you a real quick example. Yeah. I always talk about Sylvester Stallone. I've heard Tony Robbins talk about his story. He had a rough time in the very beginning. Who wanted to hire him as Rocky? I mean, he had a slanted mouth, he talked funny, but he had such power and such conviction that if he went back into getting a full-time job, he would lose that passion, that desire, that drive to become whether Rocky or become a movie star. So I always think about that. I say to myself, if you're going to fall back into your comfort zone, you're going to lose that passion. And Sylvester Stallone never lost that passion because he was starving. He didn't have a job, but he always had that goal, that vision of being a movie star, and that's what propelled him. Was it difficult for him? Obviously, he got divorced. He was hungry, couldn't pay his bills. But in the end, he triumphed because he went and strove towards his goal, and he did not succumb to becoming a traffic fighter.
And yeah, no, totally. And what I meant by the alternate universe is I'm out and about. Every day for me is a little different. I'm out there doing my thing, but I have this sense of freedom. I can do whatever I want to do. And I see all these other people that are in their cars, doing this because they got to get to this place or next. I'm relaxed. I have time freedom. We're making it happen. We're doing great things. We're creating, and we're doing it on our terms. But all these other folks out there, I just feel bad for them because they're just tied up. They're locked into this vice almost where nope, this is the way it's got to be, and it's the same thing every day, kind of cookie cutter. And I feel for them. So I think that's part of the reason why it's so important for me on these calls to get back, because I see the difference between being stuck in the corporate grind, being stuck in that box, and then being free to do what you want to do. I don't know. It's the most important thing to me at this point, from all the work that we've done, and the most enlightening part of it, is that freedom. So, anyways, gonna get off here. But going back to what we were talking about, the leader has the vision. The manager, and this is and this is a little tip for you guys out there who are running your business. The manager needs to be the accountability keeper. The secret sauce to our business is our cadence of accountability. We franchised our management system out, and we have this cadence of accountability that holds the managers accountable, holds the maintenance staff accountable every day as we're going through. So we're ensuring that certain results are met. And maybe we'll share that with you folks sometime. Maybe more specifically in some of the closed Facebook groups or whatever. We'll leak some of this stuff out there. But it's enabled us to turn around properties that we're doing $53,000 a month to doing $95,000 a month. So it makes a big difference, guys. Whew, man, we're off on a tangent on that one, huh? Anyways.
Yep.
So let's talk about values a little bit. How have you used your values and beliefs to get out of the restaurant and into real estate?
How have I used my values? Well, I think values and beliefs are so powerful in what we do and how we act. If you have a value and you have a belief, I had a couple beliefs going on at once. I had the belief that I had to have a safe and secure job, pay for my family, take care of my family. And that was being reinforced by my mom, who's saying, you can't be irresponsible. You have to raise them, right? So I've got negativity. And one tip for you guys, if you have any goals in life or you have a passion or dream, don't tell anyone, because you're going to tell people are going to hate on you, and they're going to give you the doubt. Only tell
Drinking
people
that
that
haterade.
That's right. Only tell people that that are in the same sphere as you. Why would anyone ask somebody's advice about real estate if that person never bought a deal and never did anything? All you're going to hear is negativity. Get into our closed Facebook group. Ask those people what they think. You're going to get positive reinforcement from them. But getting back to the belief, I had that belief. My other belief was, if I didn't really hit my potential, if I didn't really strive to grow and to contribute, and I didn't get out of my current situation, I'd feel as if that was a big, grave sin on my life. And I would look back when I was older and saying, I should have done that. So I've got these two beliefs floating. Which one is stronger? Whichever one is stronger is going to win out. Fortunately, the second one won out on me, and that's what propelled me to go forward. And, your values and your beliefs really are going to be a big judge of what you end up doing. So write down those values. Think of all your beliefs that you have in life. And then from there, you'll know where you're going to act. If you're safe and secure, or you think you can go skydiving, I don't think so. But someone who loves adventure, loves to have that freedom, they're going to be more of a skydiving type of person. So your actions are really going to be driven by what you believe in and what you value. And Jake, we had a big, powerful quote. I read this morning to you. I think it's really, really crucial. Just to think about this quote: "We don't see things as they are; we see them as we are." That's really powerful. Think about that. We don't see things as they are in reality. We see them as we are. So we're going to talk about fear real quick. But, if you're looking at something and you're coming from a position of fear, how do you think you're going to see it? But if you're coming from someone as a position of strength, as a position of, wow, this can be done, like we're talking this morning, you're going to see that problem as an opportunity. You're not going to see it as a problem. So always see things as they are, not how you're experiencing, not through your lens. Try to step out of that situation, get into a different state, and look at it holistically, from a holistic point of view, and see what you can end up doing and how you can affect that situation.
So basically, you weren't living up to your potential. Is that
Yes.
fair?
Oh, totally. I think that's total. And it was from being comfortable. I mean, I'm a smart dude. I mean, why can't – we're all smart. We're all smart, in like I said, intelligent people out there for the most part. I'm not my thing was that I was just really annoyed. I was like, there's got to be something more out there than working 60 hours a week and getting a couple $1,000 at the end of the week. There's got to be more than that for me. And like I said, it was comfortable. It was great. I lived 6 minutes from work. It felt like a secure job, although it's when you have your own business, it's not. But I was doing it for 20 years. So when you start doing something for 20 years, you have these ingrained beliefs that I couldn't grow anymore. I had one restaurant. Why did I have one restaurant? I was doing it for 20 years. That's just the way I was trained. That's the way I was conditioned. I never thought about it as a scalable business. Now that I look back, I could have scaled the business, but I wasn't trained that way. I was looking at it as as like I said, we don't see them as they are. That's how it was. It was able to scale. I was seeing it from where I was coming from. I was a smaller person back then. I was a level 3 or level 4 person, as opposed to being a level 8 or level 9 where I should have been. So I should have been able to scale that business, but I didn't. And I take that responsibility by myself. I can blame my brother for being part of it. Maybe he was part of the problem, but I was a bigger part of the problem because I couldn't see it, because I was working from a sense of fear and listening to, like you said, the haters. You have to play small, safe, small business, be secure. You can't step out of your comfort zone. You've been doing this. This is how business is. That's not how business is. Business is evolving every day. And unfortunately for you guys out there, the internet is exploding everything. It brings a lot of opportunity. You can go on Amazon, check your prices, but at the same time, it creates a lot of opportunity out there, guys.
My belief on what you just said is that if you're not growing, you're dying. You weren't expanding the business. You guys were operating it, and therefore it was almost a decline. And that's
right.
why you gotta be growing or you're dying. And really, the thing for me is when I moved to Tennessee, I was working the 9 to 5, but I cleared all the BS out of my life. So now all of a sudden I'm bored. What the hell am I doing? I'm 40 hours a week. That's it. Come on, I can do more than that. That's crap, man. So I started getting bored. So we started looking at deals. And then finally, we after 2 years, we got into a deal, and we got into another one, and another one, and another one. And now, out of corporate, building it up, now we're doing this stuff. But, now I have a full plate, and it feels good. I have enough to keep me busy. But if I go 6 months without doing a deal, Gino, what happens? Start getting a little cuckoo nutty, baby. You gotta get another one. I do. I get cranky and whiny, and I'm sitting there calling you 3 times a day. Hey, what's going on, man? You're like, dude, Jake, leave me alone, man. You go find a deal, man.
And that's I think, the difference with me. I was that way a few years ago, but as you get older, you start to realize that it's okay. Things will happen. I'm trying to live more in the moment, try to live day by day, and trying to enjoy every day. Because as you get older, you see certain things. You just start evolving yourself. You say, well, we're good where we are right now. I'm trying to enjoy the climb to the mountain. I was always focused on getting on top of that mountain, right, Jake? I never enjoyed the climb, and that's part of one of the things that really, I've been able to experience more. The happiness is climbing that mountain, not getting to the top of the mountain. So that's what
I'm saying, though. I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy the kill. I want to take down more deals. I like doing the deals, and that's when I feel fulfilled. And remember, we always talk about the 5 Fs. Your financial, your work. That segment of it is where I feel best, is when we're doing deals and we're growing. Because it goes back to what we said. If you're not growing, you're dying. So if I'm not growing, if I'm not building up, adding more to the portfolio, and we're not increasing the systems, that's where I got to be fulfilled in that section of my life. That's why that's why the crankiness comes out. So man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay.
So I'm going to transition a little bit back to the fear. How have you dealt with it though? Because I know especially in the beginning, I got freaked out before we start closing on these deals. How did you feel, and how did you deal with it?
Well, guys, what I would recommend you all doing is our brains work on pictures. So the way I deal with the fear is I have a vision of what my life can be 3 years from now, and my vision of not being in real estate and not doing the deal, what's it going to look like? Well, it was going to look like being stuck in the kitchen and being stuck doing something I hated to do, right? So I use that fear to propel me to do the deal. So it was a reinforcement for me. So the motivation was I was moving away from pain. So and just make pictures of that. And then you can make a positive picture moving towards pleasure. The positive picture is being able to sit down and do a podcast with Jake at 10:30 on a Tuesday morning, being able to send out an email at 12 o'clock on Wednesday, or do a coaching call in the afternoon whenever I want to. So that's what really took the fear out of it. Because if we're not experiencing fear, then we're not living, right? I'd rather have fear and problems. That means that you're living life. Because if you have no problems, you're going to be bored or you're doing something wrong. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity, right, Jake? So that's the way I'm starting to look at it.
People in real estate that make the most money are the ones solving the problems.
The big problems and adding value. So that's, we all have fear, but you just have to figure to yourself, if you don't do it, what are the consequences? And sometimes the consequences of not doing a deal are not being able to get out of the rat race. And I was so focused on getting out of the rat race that if I don't do this deal, I remember the 3rd deal we did, bro, I was killing you. I'm like, we have to get this deal done. We did everything we possibly could. We got the broker to hold a note for his commission. We for 2 months, we were going back and forth on the price. We did anything we could, and I was in such a state of fear at the time for my business and this. I'm
raided my 401k, borrowed money from my grandparents, like anything scratched and clawed.
That's right.
Yes.
but I was totally fearful because we'd never done it before. But I had a bigger fear of not doing it because I'm like, if I don't do this, we're gonna lose out on a big opportunity, and there goes my chance to get out of the rat race. So, guys, it's okay to be fearful. We're all fearful, but just use that fear to propel yourself and to take those chances and to say to yourself, you're not the only one out there that's fearful. I'm right there next to you.
So what I used to do, and it's totally not flip, but it's transitioned. In the beginning, I used to take the rational approach. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I would do the math. Okay, so we're paying this for the property. If the property doesn't succeed and we can't make it, then basically it's going to sell for this much, and then the difference is going to be $100,000, and then we're going to be on the hook for $100,000, and then a third of that is my responsibility. So I'm going to have to come up with $33,000. So at the end of the day, the worst thing that's going to happen is I may owe $33,000, and you really got to do the math and say, what's the worst thing going to happen? I got to deal with some tough employees. I got to deal with some tenants, whatever. Be rational. Write it out. What is the worst thing that can happen? What's the best thing that can happen? And I'm going to tell you right now, especially in this business, the good always, for me, has outweighed the bad. But today, it's different. Because what I've realized is when I'm afraid of something, it's because I probably don't understand it. So when I start getting scared or I don't understand something, I put a bullseye on it and I attack it viciously until I become an expert at it and I understand it. And then it becomes an asset to me. And then the fear is gone. And then I'm on to the next one. And that's how you keep growing. And that's how you're going to make success for yourself, because it's worked for me and I've done it time and time again. So when you're afraid of something, put a bullseye on it and point the gun at it and go get it.
I like that because it's true. I didn't even think about being ignorant because I was never really afraid of real estate, but there was a lot that I didn't know. And, I went to get educated. I spent a lot of money on a real estate coach. I spent a lot of money on life coaching. So maybe subconsciously that's what I was doing. I was educating myself to take that next step. And I think that's really vital. I think people are just, I don't want to use the word cheap, but sometimes they look at, I've got to spend this money and learn something. You should learn from somebody who's doing something. That'll give you the confidence. You'll be able to bounce ideas off people. And like I said, like Jake said initially, you're the sum total of the five most people that are surrounding your time. So if you're surrounding your time with guys who are coaches, who know real estate, you're going to be able to take sponge off for them and ask them for their advice and for their guidance. And that's where you need to, that's one way of eliminating the fear, being able to have somebody to help you through these deals and to help you analyze these deals and help you analyze the markets. Your fear will be taken out because when you first start out, how am I going to get into real estate? How am I going to research and buy deals out of my backyard? That can be daunting. That can be overwhelming. But if you've got somebody there to help you out, it becomes a lot easier.
And the thing is, I think people need to decide first. If you decide I'm going to be a real estate investor, I'm going to invest in multifamily, then none of the other stuff matters. Okay, I have to spend money on this. I have to do that. It's when people haven't decided yet that this is the path they're going down is when they start hemming and hawing. If you decide, find the best route for you to go and just go attack it and whatever you have to do to get there. That's the first thing. Sell out. Go to war, burn the ships, and let's do this. That's the mentality you have to have. If not, you're floundering. Gino, you want to talk about floundering? Because, if you said to me, you've been there for 15 years.
It basically comes back to the vision, right? If your vision is you want to get into multifamily, make it your business, and get out of the rat race, we go to college for 4 years and spend $150,000 to get a job, right? And after 4 years, some of us have to go back to our MBAs and go through more schooling. So, what's a year out of your life to really start consuming the knowledge and learning from somebody? That's all about your vision. Set your vision. Set what you want to do. And you know what? Think big. Don't think I can do 20, 30, 40 units. Think really big, because that was one of my pet peeves when I first started out. I didn't think big enough. I was going for duplexes and tries and little commercial buildings. And then all of a sudden we did our first 25 unit deal. I'm like, wow, 25 units, that was way more than I ever conceived of. And we ended up doing 281 units about a year ago, 150. Then we backed up about 150 units. I never thought I could do that. Think big, and the bigger you think, and the more you think you can do, even if you fall a little short, you're still a lot bigger than where you thought you would go.
I have an MBA. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast because I could wipe my behind with it because it's done nothing for me. I'm not lying. I have an MBA. I learned more in 1 year working with Gino, the entrepreneur, the real estate guy, who went out and spent money on education, than I did in however many credits I got to get the stupid MBA. Fortunately, the corporate job I was in, it paid for it. But at the end of the day, it was really wasting my time. Don't remember anything. Didn't use it.
The big difference, though, Jake, is see what you just said. You got it just to get it. There was no reason behind it. So
I got it because the company was paying for it. So I'm always about maximizing.
Exactly, but there's no energy behind it. There's no real reason why you got it.
Correct.
But that 1 year you spent with me in the very beginning, there was a reason. You had a plan. You had your values and your beliefs behind why you wanted to do real estate. So in 1 year or 6 months, you learn more because there was a reason behind why you wanted to learn it. So that's all. That's what I have to say about education. Education is really important, but just make sure you know why you're going to school or why you're getting educated on a topic, and you'll have more energy and you'll get more out of that than anything else.
And what do I like to say? Education times action equals success. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Are you stuck on the sidelines experiencing analysis by paralysis? Are you still trying to get your first multifamily deal done? We've never met an investor who's only done one deal. People are either stuck on the sidelines or they've done multiple deals. We always say that it's education times action that equal results. You come to the education side of the equation. Let us help you land your first deal. Call Jake and Gino today at 904-314-9473 to set up a strategy session, or email us at gino@jakeandgino.com.
Woo! Love that guy. Now back to the show. Gino, we're back. So, what's on the hit list right now? What are you reading?
I am reading a couple of really good books. Let me put them up to you if you guys see it.
For the YouTube guys out there,
you can negotiate anything with Herb Cohen. I think you have to read books on negotiation, even if you're not in real estate. Everything in life is about negotiation. Whether you want to persuade someone to your viewpoint, whether you want to get a better deal on a car, whether you want to get a better deal on multifamily, you have to read stuff about negotiation. This is a great book. Guy's been around forever, Herb. I mean, book was written in the 80s. First one. Second one, I'm going to hit.
You reading more than one book right now?
I'm reading, a couple.
Whoa, all
dude,
right.
I'm not.
You can do more than one thing here.
I'm not a smart dude. I need to read. I mean, I need the education. It doesn't come to me. It's a grind for me. Next one is John Maxwell. Good leaders ask great questions. He's got a lot of books, Jake. You really should check him out.
I haven't read any of his yet. What's a takeaway from that one?
I mean, I haven't started this one yet. I'm going to get this one as soon after the negotiation. It's really about when you be a leader. He talks about leadership a lot, and it's always about asking questions. It's always about empowering your employees. That's what you want. You want people to do the job that they like, and you give them an accountability. So the average employee wants to be held accountable, wants to know that they're doing a good job. And that's what it is. It's always about asking great questions, because the better question you can ask, the more answers and the more questions that is going to lead to. So that's what you constantly keep doing. You want to constantly keep revisiting that and empowering your employees. Next one is, this is an old one too, Norman Vincent Peale, The Amazing Results of Positive Thinking. Something that I like to read in the morning, only because it just sets the day up. Garbage in, garbage out. If you can put positive stuff into your mind, you're going to get positive results. You're going to lift your level of energy, and that's what it comes down to. That's what it's all about. So that's what I'm reading, and I mean, like I was joking around with you before, I've started to read the Bible in the morning only because I think Jake and I think me and you have something that we need to do. We need to serve. We're in the process of trying to serve others. So it's not about just me and you anymore. It's not about just me and your family. We're out there trying to motivate and to inspire people. And who's a better motivator, or inspire, or a leader than Jesus, right? I mean,
JC, baby.
He talks in parables. He talks a simple way, and he leads by example. And I just want to. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to lead by example. I want to show people that having a family is awesome, best thing in the world. After my wife was pregnant with our sixth child, I had a lot of fear. Right? We were talking about fear. I mean, how could a guy who has 5 kids be afraid of having the 6th kid? And I remember when I went down to Tennessee with you, you said to me, "It'll be okay." And the only way it became okay is one of my priest friends told me, I don't think I ever told him any of this, sitting there, and I was really afraid. And he said to me, he found out, and he goes, "Wow, that's wonderful." He goes, "Another Barbaro in this world. That's all we need," right? And it was one of the nicest things that anyone ever said to me. So the reason why I'm saying that is get away from the hatred. Show people love, show people, positiveness, light up the darkness. That friend of mine lit up my darkness, and I'll never forget that. And I felt so empowered, and I was like, wow, I can really do this now. So just stop hating. I think that's what we all have to worry about. You get online right now, and all you see is people trolling and hating. What does that produce? That produces you're never going to get the love. You're never going to get the satisfaction in life, because that's what
it might as well be the death spiral that we talk about in these properties, because it's just a constant. Like you said, garbage and garbage, constant garbage. Don't get caught up in that.
And that's what I try. That's what I try to teach my kids. I have a 10-year-old who I'm just telling her she wants to buy a Ferrari, and I said that's great. I said never hate anyone with money, never hate anyone for anything.
If she's at 10 and she's already telling you that, she'll probably have it by the time she's 20.
Well, I want her to emulate people who are successful. We're all about tearing people down. I'm all about, listen, if I want to achieve something, I want to emulate that guy, and I want to give that guy props, because nobody just gets that kind of success, just wakes up in the morning. He had to work really hard, because I know what it takes to become a successful person, to run a successful business. So when you're out there, if you have nothing nice to say, this is what my dad always told me, don't say anything, because it's not worth brashing somebody down. You can have the tallest building by building the tallest building, or by tearing everyone else's building down. Like that's what Tony Robbins says. I don't want to tear anyone else's building down. I want to be able to build mine higher and have everyone else build with me, because the more buildings we have higher, the more it's just going to be an expandable pie. The pie is not, when you're looking at a pizza pie, it's not 8 slices. I think it's infinite. I think there's so much infinite going on.
They're printing enough money, man. There's enough out there for everybody, so go get it.
Right? So, I mean, just the bottom line is that don't be a hater. If you're going to hate, just hate yourself, because that's what you're going to attract. Try to be positive. Try to light up the darkness.
Last topic. What are you excited about right now?
Excited about expanding the community, Jake and Gino. I think we have something really cool going on. We just keep meeting new people, getting new people on board. That's really exciting to me. The podcast is doing really well. We've got a lot of downloads. People are enjoying the podcast. We're doing the 100 units. Hopefully by the end of the year, we'll get this contract signed up. And that's a funny thing, right, Jake? Hate it. The haters. Having a tough time with the lawyers. But you know what? We try to keep it positive, because sometimes things don't go your way, but we always have to.
What are we doing? We didn't like it, but we're attacking it.
That's right.
We're going straight in with that machete. We're kicking down doors, man. Hey, we're talking about Sly. Might as well go Rambo. Shit, man, you just gave me an idea. I might have to work that into our make it happen marketing.
And that's it. 100 units, and actually we're writing another book, Jake and I. So hopefully we'll get that done beginning of next year. We're launching all these products and all these trainings for multifamily. And basically, it's all about life coaching. It's about getting people to that next level, seeing their potential, and trying to, keep them, hold them accountable, and keep them motivated and inspired.
And I promised Gino I'd say this. This is very important because it's helping grow the community. So guys, if you like the podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate it. You guys are the best. We got the best community out in real estate, without a doubt. Gino, thanks for the time. This has been an awesome show, and I will see you next week.
Jake, thanks.
We trust that you enjoyed the Wheelbarrow Profits podcast. Visit jakeandgino.com, your one-stop shop for everything multifamily. See you next time when Jake and Gino share more of their investing secrets with you.